I'm joined on the phone by Sky Racing's Brittany Graham. Brittany, firstly, thank you for giving us time. Thoroughly enjoyed your coverage on Saturday. Will you be back out on track this Saturday?
Yeah, hi there, Philippa. Thanks so much for having me. No, it's a real pleasure to be on board with the team this morning. But I'm glad that you guys got to tune in a little bit to our coverage from Menangle on Saturday night. It was certainly a great thrill to be out there amongst some of the best harness racing trainers, drivers, and of course horses. And we'll be doing it all again this Saturday night, so can't wait.
Of course, the time-honoured Group 1 Miracle Mile is to the fore. Let's start with one of the favourites for this, Brittany, of course. That is King of Swing. We're going to take a look at him winning on Saturday night. A horse that, of course, led and took out the Hunter Cup. He led in his race. Does he need to do that to win this?
I probably think that it would be highly advantageous for him to lead, but we did see at his second start for Craig Cross, he was behind the leader and was able to come off a helmet and beat Major Dan on that occasion. So I guess it's not the be-all and end-all for him, but all of his big race victories have come in front. Of course, he was originally trained by Ray Green over there in New Zealand. He came to Melbourne, won the Breeders' Crown at 2, and then was purchased and did the majority of his racing in Perth before he came across and joined the Cross McCarthy team about 4 starts ago. So he's had 4 starts for them now. He was dominant in the Hunter Cup. He basically just got away with things out in front and made them pay in the end. And then on Saturday night, he managed to make his way to the front, and then splits that they ran meant that it was going to be near and impossible for anything to get near him. So he has great gate speed. Luke McCarthy, I spoke to him on Saturday night after the race, and he's of the opinion that he has as good a gate speed as any other horse in the race. I maybe questioned that a little bit before that race, but Luke's was good enough for mine. So if he thinks that he has enough gate speed to lead, I'm sure that's what he'll be wanting to do. And he also mentioned the fact that he thinks that last week's run will really bring him on in fitness because he hadn't had a start for about a month. So plenty of confidence from the stable. Of course, they've qualified 3 horses for the race, 2 horses for the race, beg your pardon, in King of Swing and Ultra Orlando. So Luke had the choice between those 2, and he's elected to stick with King of Swing. So that's a pretty good lead for me.
Speaking of Ultra Orlando, we're taking a look at his run now. Firstly, you had him on top and he motored off the gate to slot him behind Myfield Marshall. As you mentioned, there's a lot of speed in the race, Brittany. Where do you see him mapping?
Yeah, it's probably a bit of a tricky draw for Ultra Orlando. He does have that really good gate speed, but he proved as well that he can do it at both ends because he was able to get across onto the back of Myfield Marshall and then peel off the last quarter of 25 and 3, and he just did it so easily. He just did it with so much in hand, it appeared, and Todd McCarthy agreed when I had a chat to him after the race. But a 53.4 last half, and he just looked to jog it in the end. So I'm not sure where he gets to. I don't think they would want to try and lead this Miracle Mile with him because he is just so lethal coming off a helmet, and there is such, I guess, a multitude of speed around him with the likes of Lochinvar drawn to his direct outside and Major Dan. Well, he only knows one way forward. So I think if he could slot across into the running line somewhere, he has to be dangerous. He went up a crazy price at about $21 with the Aussie tab here, and he's now into $9. So he's the best backed runner for us. And he's already, I guess, put his hand up. Mark Purdon to take the reins, of course. He originally trained Ultra Orlando. So Todd McCarthy sticking solid with Major Dan, a horse that he's had a lot to do with over the last 12 months. There was, of course, all the talk around whether Dexter was going to come across and drive Ultra Orlando, but he's on holiday, so he will certainly lose nothing with Mark Purdon jumping into the bike. He's a bit of a quirky horse. He can make life hard for his driver every now and then, but when he goes like he did on Saturday night, I'm sure that they're happy to put up with it.
And one of the Kiwis that we have to mention, Brittany, of course, a Better's Heart, taking out the Ladyship Mile, and the way she did it as well. Of course, she was back and John Dunn had to pull her out, and she really finished hard down the outside. What did you make of her run?
Yeah, it's a great story seeing her in the Miracle Mile, isn't it? But her run was out of this world, and she's shown that she's so super versatile. The week before in her qualifier for the Ladyship Mile, she was 3 wide for the last 800 metres, and generally horses, once they have to do that work 3 wide at the Menangle Mile, they are really gasping through her as soon as they turn into the home straight. But she was just super brave, so she put the writing on the wall there, but you would have just seen I don't know how she won where she was at the 150 metre mark. She was checking off our Princess Tiffany and Bella Montana's sulkies and just hoping to, I guess, pick herself up and gain that momentum once more is one thing in itself. But to manage to get the job done, it was just a superb run from her. And then the invite was given to Peter Baggery for Better's Heart, which he said he was happy to accept, and he's just enjoying the ride this week, being able to, I guess, be one of the outsiders, no pressure, and just enjoy the fact that he's in a $1 million race with her. It's hard to line up the form lines, I guess, between these mares races and the Open Boys, but she's always acquitted herself really well against the Open Boys in New Zealand. But it's another step up here, but on her 2 Aussie runs, you cannot possibly dismiss her because she has been unbelievable.
And a horse we haven't mentioned, Brittany, of course, is Locknavar, the Chariots of Fire winner, finally getting his Group 1 and he's second favourite for the race. Would you have him in the mix from the draw?
You have to have him in the mix, I think, because his 4-year-old form has been absolutely superb. Now, he was the pre-draw favourite, and once he came up with that ordinary draw of 9, he's started to lengthen a bit in terms of his price. But his Bonanza win, which I'm sure everybody over there in New Zealand was able to see when he defeated Self Assured, was unbelievable. They went 148 and 6 around Melton, which of course is a 1,000-metre circuit. He was 3 wide to the breeze and pushed on to the front, and Self Assured was awesome in defeat, but in the end he couldn't get past Lochinvar, and that was very much the same again in the Chariots of Fire. He's had the benefit of having 2 weeks between runs, so he didn't have to go around in the sprints last week like many of these horses did, so he's had a bit of a freshen up. He's definitely not electric off the arm, but his gate speed is getting better, and the 4-year-olds have always been competitive in this race since they've started inviting the Chariots of Fire winner. So he'll have to push forward. I'm not sure where he gets to, but the riding's been on the wall at his last few starts. He's right up to a race of this nature.
I'm going to put you on the spot, Brittany. I know it's early in the week, but are you leaning towards one that you've put on top?
I think I'm leaning towards Ultra Orlando at the moment. The amount of speed that's in this race to me suggests that they're going to set it up for a swooper. Of course, we saw 2 years ago, Myfield Marshall, when they rated that 146.9 Southern Hemisphere record, they set it up for a swooper and he was the one to come over the top of them. He's there again this year. He'll be looking to do the big double, but I think Ultra Orlando, I was with him last week and he did the right thing by me, so I better not jump off this week. And with Mark Purden aboard, he should have a little bit more fitness under his belt again. He had a bit of an interrupted campaign, I should say. So I think Ultra Orlando goes in on top for me. But this is anyone's race, and I could change my mind a few times before now on the weekend, so don't hold me to that one.